Hey, friends. This is Martine Williams, and I am obsessed with all things mompreneur life and helping you to remix your priorities, your habits, your mindsets, and yes, even your relationships so that you can build a successful business without losing yourself in the process. I'm also obsessed with the color turquoise and lyrics of the 80s and 90s, but that's beside the point. Girlfriend, you don't have to hustle 24/7, 365 and continue to sacrifice your health, your relationships, and your sanity to be a successful mompreneur. As a small town girl living in a lonely world to a six-figure mompreneur, I am here to teach you how. There is a better way, and this podcast is your one-stop shop for all of the how-tos, the encouragement, the life hacks, the success tips, and of course, a little side of tough love. This is the Mompreneur Life Remixed podcast. So let's do this. Well, welcome back, friends, to the Mompreneur Life Remixed podcast. I'm your host, Martine Williams, and your CEO, your Chief Encouragement Officer. I am so excited about this bonus episode for the show today. Our Turquoise Talk guest, she was actually my very first Turquoise Talk guest when I launched the podcast. So I'm super excited to have her back on for a bonus episode. That episode was episode number 3, if you want to go back and listen to our first kind of interview. But Miss Cindy Monroe is my Turquoise Talk guest today. And let me tell you a little bit about her before we kind of dive in. So Cindy Monroe founded 31 Gifts in the basement of her Chattanooga, Tennessee home in 2003 with a few friends. During her time as CEO, 31 grew to reach almost 800 million annually with over 100,000 consultants throughout the U.S. and Canada. Media took note with articles, interviews, and coverage across the country, including Forbes, naming Cindy one of the 8 women to watch in 2015, alongside Taylor Swift and Sandra Bullock. Nearly 20 years later, Cindy continues as the 31 founder and board member, and she also serves on the board of directors for Direct Selling Association and on the advisory board of Nationwide Children's Hospital of Columbus Foundation. Cindy's passion outside of her career is her beautiful family, husband Scott, and children Alex and Evan. She has successfully combined her professional passion with her faith and has written a book, More Than a Bag. I'm so excited to not only chronicle the incredible story of 31's growth, but to also provide inspiration for others' journeys. And Cindy, you know, you're one of my biggest inspirations. I cherish our friendship and your mentorship and all of the things that you've done. So I'm so excited about this book and just all the women that you're going to continue to impact through it. So thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Martine, for having me back. And I can't wait to see what comes up today.
Yes, fun. It's going to be super fun. And so for the listeners, because I do have some listeners that may not be familiar with 31 Gifts. Can you tell us a little bit about the company for those that are like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, of course. So we started out as a direct sales company over 19 years ago with a mission to empower women and some men to find passion and purpose, building their own businesses as independent consultants and leaders. Our products are designed to help organize and simplify life and to capture those memories throughout the week and your days. And our customers, I think they turn to us for everything from totes and bags to luggage, home organization solutions, and even a little bit of home decor. I know I've seen some around your house.
A little bit everywhere. A little bit everywhere. And it definitely has made my life more simple. So I love that. Love that. So when you first shared with me about the book, I remember just in our conversations and our friendship and mentorship over the years is, when is the book coming? Like, when's the book coming? And so I wanted to ask you, like, what really prompted you to write More Than a Bag? Like, why now?
Well, it took me a while to get there, as you know. And, I really feel like that we're kind of kicking off our 20th anniversary year this month here in October. And it's a big milestone for any business. And for me, it's been the perfect catalyst to reflect a little bit, to reflect on the highs and to reflect on some of the lows, some of the triumphs and the setbacks. And really the biggest insights from 31 Gifts for 2 decades. And I just feel like that I've learned so much and I have things that I can share that maybe I've not shared before.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's just a really exciting time for all of those that have, that we've been with you from the beginning, and those that have come into all the different 20 years of 31 to be a part of this process. So I'm super excited for you. And again, for all the people who are going to have a chance to read that. So what would you say is the core message of the book? Like, what do you really want to bring to light for people?
So I really wanted people to realize and to remember that 31, the company, is more than a bag. Mm-hmm. And this book is really more than a memoir. I think it's a shared celebration. We love to celebrate at 31. And I really wanted to celebrate literally hundreds of thousands of lives that have been a part of the 31 story. And I feel like it's my thank you to all of them. Like I always tell everybody, thank you. I'm so full of gratitude on how so many people have impacted my life and all that they have taught me. I think it's also a roadmap for people who feel a calling to set out on their own journey of entrepreneurship or to figure out success, for inspiring them, encouraging and guiding them with lessons that we have learned along the way. And I think that, it's a great way for us to also just give back. And so I think we're giving back in several ways, from part of the profits of the book to also just giving our stories and our learnings. So I'm excited about it. Hopefully there'll be so much more than that, but those are a few thoughts.
I'm sure it will. And I do love the big thank you. I think because I have had a chance to look at the book, I think people will feel that in your writing, is that it's a way to kind of celebrate everyone, the journey and the ups and the downs and all the arounds. So I didn't know this. So the book starts with the defining moment in your life, the moment your home burned down when you were a young child. So tell us how that impacted you, because that was a story that I did not know.
So yeah, I've not shared that story before, and I'm excited about it because I think that we all think that like our current circumstances are what creates our responses and our personalities and things like that. But I was really young and it shaped my life. And I don't think that I realized how much it shaped my life until I started reflecting on it. And so, yeah, it's a really hard time where I felt isolated and lonely. And I think that it helped to it helped me to want to make sure that I was in control of my situations in life, that I'm able to create a safe environment for myself and for my family. And I know you and I have been talking recently about what you're doing and just talking about, like, I think you were sharing, and maybe you've shared on some other podcasts that you've done, just about like how much of our personality, is created or is there from before we were 6 years old. And right. So I just think that, that's an important lesson that I don't think we all realize or understand. And those aren't bad things. That's just, something that shaped me into who I am and the leadership style that I've led with.
Right. And I think when we have those defining moments or milestone moments in our life that, we can either choose to get bitter or get better. And I think it helped you to, like you said, do some of the things and there's a lot more detail in the book about it, but I'm excited for y'all to hear that story. It's really cool to hear stories that I haven't heard before. So in many of the chapters, you open up about, the challenges you face and even the mistakes you've made along the way. And honestly, not every author is comfortable being so transparent. Entrepreneurs, successful people sometimes just really struggle with having that transparentness in the ups and the downs. So what kind of led you to share those moments?
Well, I don't think that any of us have had a smooth road or journey. And I've had my share of blind spots, shortcomings, and learning curves. And I hope that being real about those things, that I can help others avoid some of my detours, or at least find a kindred spirit on the sometimes messy journey that we all take towards success. I think, also realizing that those moments don't define us. And I think that so many times we can get stuck and even move backwards whenever we start to focus on those moments versus some of the really great moments. And so I do feel like that I can, by sharing those stories and being vulnerable, hopefully it'll encourage other people to move forward and to get unstuck.
Right. Right. I say it all the time when it comes to the women that I coach, like we're really great at wearing masks. And I think that we all can help each other so much more if we're willing to take that mask off and just say, here's here's what I'm struggling with right now, and I don't have it all together, because I'm sure as executives also, they're thinking, well, Cindy always has it, has it all together all the time. And so I just think it's, again, a good, it just shows your character, that you're willing to be that vulnerable and knowing that it's going to help someone, move forward. So I love that. You do share some funny, unexpected moments in Building 31. So can you share with us, like, what's one of your favorites?
Oh my gosh. So we have talked about this probably several times at 31 events or whatnot, but like our husbands, between mine and Julie and Kathy, I mean, like, they helped us so much, whether it was Jason and Scott delivering orders at Christmas time, or literally some of them painting kids on our bags. Like, we literally had the puppy paint, and we would make fun of Scott's eyes of the kids all the time. Or, Rodney was making us chili, or they were making food for us. Like, there was so many things that they just helped us with, but those would have to be some of my favorites and just super personal.
It's a family business.
Yes.
It's been a family business from the very beginning. So, okay. So when you think about, what people would walk away, like, what's your hope if someone's reading this book? What do you want them to walk away, the readers to walk away with?
So I really want them to know that they can dare to not only dream about doing more, but they can combine their faith, their vision, and hard work and community to bring those dreams to fruition. And I feel like that I've been intentional in all those areas of my life, and I feel successful in all those areas, not just 31. And I believe that God has a way of nudging us to do things. And my hope is that everyone dares to take those leaps of faith and to touch others' hearts along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And while I share my, Christian faith, I've worked closely with people from all walks of faith, as well as those who don't even identify with a particular faith, all of which I honor and respect. And I believe that love and respect for each other is what matters the most, and how we can show up for each other. And I just want to, really love others and help nudge others along to step out and to take that risk. I really do feel like that, that is definitely something that I want readers to walk away with. It's just that encouragement to take the next step.
Right. No doubt that they will, for sure. So turning a little bit away from the book, you recently turned the reins over as the CEO. So tell us about that and what you're doing now at 31.
Yeah. Well, there's been quite a few changes these last couple of years, I think, for all of us, right? And our industry and the larger retail world has also been impacted. And I really feel like that at 31, we knew that we could use some guidance, some new experts, some new thinking, some new eyes on the business and around the business. And we made the tough but exciting decision to partner with Cambric in 2020. And I am excited to have that fresh thinking around the table, to have the new strategic thinking, and the partnership came at a time when the world was literally shut down, but I would do it all over again, because I think that just having that partnership to navigate the last couple of years has been a huge help. And I think right now, we have such amazing talent and to support the mission of 31 and where we're going. And I'm just loving the team that has been put together. I have the privilege on a regular basis of collaborating with our CEO, Kamel Kent, and I am closely involved with supporting our consultants and home office, and, really just doing that in a way from that founder, that speaker, that board member, someone to bounce ideas off, to bring in like lessons learned. And it really has been just a lot of fun. It's been new, but it's been a lot of fun to be able to, see some of the new ideas and the new processes and systems that are just going to make us stronger.
Right. Right. I love that. I mean, you've just been such a huge part of all the pieces. And as I was reading the book, just seeing all the different roles that you have played from, the very beginning. And I know you loved monogramming and all of that. It's just really cool to kind of see even now. I mean, you're still very much a part of 31, and you always will be. It's just different ways you're showing up. So I love that God is using the gifts that He's given you to continue to show up in 31 and in the message. And through this book, this is just another part, right? It's another piece of that journey. So what would you say has been your biggest learning curve? I love to ask this question because, again, it makes you relatable. We're all sitting there thinking, okay, I know she's had some learning moments. Like, what are those and how can I learn from what you've learned?
Well, and I think this fits in with your podcast because I know what you're passionate about, but I'll just share that a lot of people assume that because I've been in this magazine or I've had these quote unquote worldly successes, or that if someone has seen me on stage at conference in front of thousands of people, that you might assume that I am always confident and I'm always proud of everything we have done. But I'll tell you, one of my biggest lessons has really been about learning to focus on what's right and my gratitude rather than focusing on the areas where I have disappointed myself or I feel like I've disappointed others. And that's hard. And so I think that it doesn't matter how successful you've been. I don't think it matters if you're female or if you're male. I don't think it matters if you are 13 or 48 or 69. Like, I just don't think it matters. I feel like that, it's still difficult sometimes to really focus on your accomplishments and the impact that you've had and doing good and versus, beating yourself up. And so I feel like that writing this book, I was able to share so many amazing stories of beautiful, life-changing impacts that I've been able to be a part of. And I have a choice each day whether I'm going to focus on those positive stories and how God sees me, or if I'm going to let worldly expectations define my attitude for the day. And I know you're big on mindset. And so it is. It's a daily walk around my mindset. And I will tell you, probably my other biggest learning curve is loving others bigger. And I have grown the most, I feel like, in that area. And I just love bigger.
Right.
Compared to where I was 19 years ago, I just feel like my love bucket has just grown and grown and grown. And that not only flows on other people, but it comes right back. And it has, while it's been a big learning curve, it's also been one of the biggest blessings for me.
I love that. We all could use more love in the world. That is for sure. And those that are willing to do that and open up that bucket even bigger than just your immediate family. Or, we were just talking about my neighbor next door and, just being that human that loves on people without expecting anything in return. So I love that. Okay. So on the flip side, what would you say is your most proudest achievement? Did I say that mostest, proudest? That's not even how you say that.
No,
what would you say is your proudest achievement with 31?
So I feel like that I've been pretty consistent in this. I think whenever I walk out on stage and I see the smiles and the eyes and the heart and the glow from all of our hardworking sales consultants and hardworking employees, like that is my most proud moment. I don't care about being, written up in magazines. Like, while those are nice to have and they're validating, but my most proud is from a 31 standpoint is walking out on stage. From a family standpoint, it's that Scott and I are celebrating 29 years this month, and to be able to have successful kids and a successful marriage with a successful business, that would probably be my life's most proudest.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It definitely is. It's a struggle. And I think a lot of, mompreneurs that may be listening today think, can I really have both? And it's not one or the other. You can't absolutely be, a successful entrepreneur and be a great mom and a great wife or a great husband. And I think you and Scott both have modeled that, not only for Shaw and I, but for, like you said, thousands of women. And I often wonder, as I've watched you walk out on stage and I know your heart, like how you don't just melt on the stage and you just get overwhelmed with the emotion of, you're making that impact, and you may not always see it, but when you walk out on that stage, you do see it. And I don't know how you hold it together, sister, when you walk out there, because I would just I'm like crying for you when I see you walk out on stage.
It's emotional for sure.
You kind of have to like hold it together until the end, and then you can, melt when you get off the stage. Okay. So, you and your husband, Scott, have combined faith and work since the beginning. That was really what drew me to the company, was seeing that it was a faith-based company. That was really important to me at the time and still is now. But you were a pastor's wife for a while, and faith guided a lot of how you both approached your leadership roles at 31. So can you tell us a little bit more about that? Because that's not always the norm. I mean, being frank. So
I think that I'm not going to say it's been easy, because I feel like that we flip-flop that support role. Scott and I love boating, and I'm the first mate on the boat and he's the captain on the boat. And we often talk about that in other parts of our roles, and there are times where at 31, I was that captain and he was that support first mate. There's times on the boat where he is totally in charge and I'm supporting him. And there was times in the ministry, whenever he was on staff at the church, that I was that supportive pastor's wife. And I feel like that those roles have flip-flopped in our life several times. And we even have to flip-flop within the same day sometimes, because he's supporting me with work and business, and then I'm supporting him on the boat or with something else that he's got going on. And so I feel like that that has been one of the most challenging parts of it, but we've practiced it and we've tried to communicate with each other, and we continue to, grow in that area. I will not say that we have it all figured out, but we do use that analogy for us. It's like, okay, who's leading in this and who's that support role? I feel like that, there's been several decisions that we have made around the business. And there's times where the decision, it's like, is it a faith-based decision that we're praying and that I'm honoring him as, my husband and spiritual leader of the house, versus, there's data and things like that I'm bringing into the decision. And so, that sometimes those are hard to navigate, and, we do our best. We pray over hard decisions, and, we just know that God is going to make it work for good in the end. And then we have put our best foot forward and prayed about it and loved, each other through it and the roles. And I'm not going to say that there's not been like some arguments and pouty going to bed silent and I roll away from him or whatnot. But we always come back and talk about it, and our love gets us through every time.
Well, I think that's key for, leadership in the business or leadership in the home, is that communication, and just, having this extended amount of time being around you and Scott, like I have here recently. I have seen y'all flip-flop those roles, and I've seen you communicate it, and not even like saying, well, I'm going to do this. It's like, you both show up with this attitude of service. Of how I can help you. How can I support you in cooking that meal? Or how can I support you, getting ready for your Zoom calls or whatever? Like, you're both just really great at asking that question. And again, it's not about being perfect, but I just having this time with y'all, been able to see how well y'all communicate, and just in the moment, you can flip flop from one role to the next. And that's just the way life is, and if you do show up with that attitude of service, whether you're going into a board meeting or you're going into your home, it just changes. It changes how people respond to what that role is. So I love that. Okay. So this is a question I like to always ask, because it's a question I always get also as a mompreneur is, for all of us, balancing work and family can be tricky. And so what advice would you give to the mompreneur who's listening today she's desiring that so much? She's just really having a hard time with the both, having a successful life and a successful business, and kind of keeping that balance.
Yeah. So I think for me, making sure that you're showing up 100% with whatever you're doing at that time. So if I was going into work, I was showing up 100% at work. If I'm going into date night or dinner with the kids, I was showing up 100% there. I feel like that, even if we're going out to eat still, I don't pull out my phone while I'm out to eat with Scott, even though I feel like that we get to go out to eat a lot now, and we have lots of date nights because we're empty nesters, but I still want to value that time and respect him and respect that time that we have together. So I would say that try to figure out ways that you're showing up 100% and tools that can help you with that. one tool that I've used is calendaring, and we were just talking about it last night. And I love to calendar, and I love to be intentional about my calendar. So I'm putting, if I'm having date night with the kids, or if there's something I'm showing up for, I'm putting it on the calendar so that I'm not overbooking it. I'm not overextending myself, and I'm getting my work done before or after that time slot. So I think that calendaring for me has been more than just, time that I've got to leave the house and be somewhere by a certain time. But it also is a mindset for me, and it's a chunk of time that I want to respect. And so even if I don't even have to leave the house, I put calendar things on the calendar, and that helps me. And then it helps me also to communicate better.
Yeah, we were having a good conversation about all of this last night. And, you may be listening and you're keeping all that in your head. You're like, you have these important things, but they're not on the calendar, and they're not being appropriately communicated to the other people that they impact. So that's it. I think people look for a silver bullet. They look for that, like that magic trick that's just going to make work and life balance, but it takes intentional. You've mentioned the word intentional several times. And actually episode 3, we talked a lot about intention. So you might want to go back and listen at that, but you have been very intentional about, being where your feet are, we like to say that. Okay. So speaking of family time, what's up with something you mentioned in the book, like sausage time? What is that?
So I don't know if anybody else's teenagers roll their eyes whenever you're like, no, we're going to have family time. You can't go play with your friends. And Alex got really tired of family time and being told she couldn't go play with her friends, because I was working a ton. And whenever I was home, I was going to be there and 100%, and I wanted them to be there and be 100%. And so one day, we were talking about it, and I'm like, no, we need more family time. And she's like, I am so tired of family time. And I'm like, okay, we'll call it sausage time. I don't care what we call it. But so we now call it sausage time. And so I don't know.
That's hilarious.
It's stuck.
And you still call it that today?
Yeah. I mean, we'll.
Right.
Yeah. We'll play on it for sure.
That's hilarious. Now, do y'all actually like sausage?
We do. We love some sausage. Southern sausage.
I love it. Okay. So let's go back to the book, because I know after hearing the stories, just a little bit that we've shared with others, when does this book officially launch, and how can readers get a copy of it?
Thank you for asking. So Tuesday, October 18th, it'll be officially on Amazon, and it'll be in both the print and the digital versions. So readers can go to Amazon and search for More Than a Bag by Cindy Monroe, or just follow me on Instagram or Facebook. I know Martine's going to be sharing it as well. So definitely click on any of her links, and we'll be making sure that everybody knows how to get their hands on it, because I think it's a fun read. It's a lot of little short stories too. So I think that makes it easier for your mompreneurs, because sometimes you only have 5 minutes and you just can sit down for a minute, like go run into the closet with some coffee or tea and read a chapter, and then you can bounce right back out and be ready to take on those kids or that next chore.
Yeah, I'm one of those readers that, like, I'm flipping through, okay, how long are these chapters? And I can get discouraged, but oh my gosh, it's going to take me forever to read this one chapter. But I love that your book is designed in that way, where you can, read 2 or 3 pages and you feel like you've accomplished something. If you have a mindset like mine, like I like to feel like I'm accomplishing something. And so to know I'm a finisher, so I don't want to start a chapter and not finish it. So I love that they are these short stories, and we will for sure put all the links to websites and ways for you to get More Than a Bag in your hands or in your ears, the audio version to listen to. But I recommend the book, getting the physical book, because you can highlight and take notes and just really have it to go back to. So thank you. This was so fun.
Thank you so much, Martine, for having me. And thanks, listeners, for listening in today and for helping support the book. I really do appreciate it.
It's awesome. I cannot wait to see and hear the stories and people in my DMs talking about this book. It's going to be awesome. So I'm so excited for you, friend, as my mentor and my friend and my coach and all the things. Like, I am just so excited for this new season. And I appreciate you taking the time to come on the podcast. So again, we'll put all the stuff in the show notes for you, and we will have our regular episode on Thursday. So make sure you tune back in on Thursday. But Here we go. I'm so excited.
Here we go. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Martine.
All right. Catch you on the next episode. Well, that's a wrap, friends, for this week's episode of the Mompreneur Life Remixed podcast. Thank you so much for listening and for following the show. It means so much to me. And listen, friend, sharing is caring. So if you loved this episode and thought of some fellow mompreneurs who could benefit, send them the link. Share this episode or take a screenshot and head on over to Instagram and share and tag me at Martine31Williams. We are connected on Instagram, right? It's where you will get all the fun behind the scenes of my life and business as a mompreneur. Until next time, know that I am believing in you always.